First question I have for you is, after listening to drummers, your contemporary drummers, I suppose, like Charlie Watts
Yeah.
and Ginger Baker, how influential was jazz on your drumming style?
Well, I love jazz. I mean, most drummers will like to play jazz because you can do all your rudiments on that. All the technical bits. You get more technical instead of rock drumming all the time.
Yeah,
You can do your paradiddles and your whatever.
yeah, yeah. You mentioned in your book that Lazy Sunday Afternoon
Yeah.
was too poppy, too teeny bopper. Do you see this as the what prompted Steve Marriott to form Humble Pie, or were there other reasons he formed Humble Pie?
You hit the nail right on the head. Basically, we in the small faces we got fed up with being a teeny bopper band. We
Yeah,
were good musicians, we thought anyway. So we like to play like Booker T and the MGs and Jimmy McGriff and stuff like that.
hmm
So we did a little bit of jazz and stuff. Um, so we were quite serious about what we were doing. So and we were progressing as young kids all the time, learning different styles of playing. I did a lot of session work. So whatever I learned on sessions, like in the big bands and stuff, I brought back to the like if you listen to Alden's Nut Gone Flake,
yeah,
you can hear all the big fills in there.
yeah, yeah.
I kind of brought that into the band.
I mean, was there not a feeling that you, as a band, you could have kind of just gone in that direction, or did you feel you were just kind of stuck in that sort of
I
60?
think after doing Ogden's Nut Gone Flake, I think we were, in Steve's mind, not so much in mine, but in Steve's mind, um, I think he thinks, how do we bloody follow this then? And so kind of that's quite a major breakthrough that album in those particular days.
Yeah. How different would that album have been had Spike Milligan done the narration on that, do you think?
I think it worked out for the best actually, because I mean we love Spike Milligan. Spike Milligan would have been equally as good, I think, in his own style. But we we came up with Stanley Unwin. Stanley Unwin was brilliant,
He was, yeah, yeah, he
really
was.
fantastic. Yeah. Are you sitting up to go two square on your body? Then I'll begin.
Well, it certainly adds to the character and flavour of that album. Um, we talked about the small faces and going in a rockier direction, certainly with Humble Pie. But how inspirational do you think the band were on, say, Led Zeppelin? How did you inspire Led Zeppelin?
Well, uh, I used to do some sessions in the early days with Jimmy Page and stuff like that. So he was on some of the sessions. So he knew all about us. Robert Plant used to come to all our gigs. So they were fans before obviously there's a little bit rubbed off there.
Yeah, there's certainly Robert Plant's vocal style as well. You can almost hear
Oh
Steve
yeah, we
Marriott.
love Steve Marriott. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, how disappointed were you that given the popularity of British bands in the USA with Beatlemania, I mean, how much of a missed opportunity was it that Small Faces never toured the States, and why was that?
Well, we never went to the States.
Hmm
I think, to be honest, I mean, Don Arden, right, our manager at the time, he
Yeah,
wouldn't. I think he didn't want to let us go anywhere.
right.
And
Why?
we
Why
actually,
do you?
we actually,
Why?
we actually, we actually went to the States by mistake. Because we did a 1966, I think it was. We did a tour of Australia with the Who,
Right.
so I went over there. And so on the way back, we had to land in San Francisco because we
hmm
got bad weather. So we came off the plane. We didn't even go through passport control, nothing. And so they took us straight to the Holiday Inn.
Right.
And so we were kind of in there by mistake without doing anything. So we went there. You know, when you get in your bedroom,
Yeah. Yeah.
the hotel, I kind of experiment in the room, find out what it's like in there. So I turned the TV on, and it's a colour TV. It's hanging on the wall. I hadn't seen one of them before.
Right.
So I sort of changing the channels, and as soon as I changed the channel, it went. There was my first impression of America was this: the uh, was it a newsreel of the Vietnam guy, he was shot. Right.
Right.
Yeah. And then he was shot in the head, and the blood went through.
Yeah.
And I thought, welcome to America. That was it. That was
Yeah.
my first impression.
Yeah. Gosh, a grisly impression.
Yeah, but I understand what you mean. I often say to myself, if we'd only had an opportunity to go to America and tour, I don't think we would have broken up.
Really?
Yeah, I think so, because that's the land where all our influences were coming from. So, more opportunities.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess. Um,
I mean,
would,
no one will ever know.
yeah. I suppose. Would you describe "Here Comes the Nice" as a pro-drug song, and were you surprised that the BBC didn't ban it?
Yeah, come the nights making you looking so makes you feel like no one else could.
Yeah.
It's, it was like Pusher,
Yeah.
it's coming out the drug band.
Yeah.
So yeah, I know. So, but I mean, the BBC played it like they liked it, but then they found out what it was all about and then banned it.
They did ban it in the end, did they?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah,
And
it's certainly an iconic number.
it's like Tin Soldier. I'm not. Yeah, Tin Soldiers along those lines.
Right, right.
Well, it's the same sort of thing.
Well, it's interesting. You spoke about a young David Jones, I think, supporting the band. I mean, in an alternative universe, could you have seen a young David Bowie actually joining the Small Faces?
Well, I kind of looked at him as a fifth member of the band, actually.
Oh, okay.
Funny because not that he was ever in he used to come. He said we used to hang around in the Denmark Street in the Gioconda,
Uh,
and David was always in there. So he said, "Where are you going tonight, lads?" So we're just going. We've got a gig in Epping Forest somewhere. So can I come? So that was the first time we came. So we said, "Yeah." He said, "Can I go up and do a couple of songs?" Yeah, yeah, great. So we got up, did a couple of songs with us, and that was it. So then he kept coming.
right, right.
So it's a bit like that. So, and it was also exactly the same size as us. So it fitted. Yeah, a lot of fun memories on that.
Did you see sparks in David Bowie of what he would become when you saw him in those early days?
Yeah, I mean, I did. I thought it would be because it was so theatrical and so dynamic in that way. But also, it was at that particular time when we first started, before we were known, he was always singing band bomb songs.
Right, right.
It's got on our nerves, basically.
You mentioned he was the same size as you. Um, Glyn Johns says in his autobiography that Ronnie Lane used to call him Bluto. I wonder if that's right.
I don't know.
Because Glyn Johns was quite big, wasn't he? He was over 6 foot, I believe.
Glenn Jones was, what, you mean talking about tall, how tall he was?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no, he was taller than us, about 5'8".
Right, right. No, he says in his book that Ronnie Lane used to call him Bluto. I know.
Probably. I can't remember.
Um, how I'd love to know how you came to drum on the Rolling Stones number. It's only rock and roll. What's the
Oh,
story behind that?
well, I lived on, in the Faces, I lived on Kingston Gate, Kingston, the Gate,
Hmm.
Robin Hood Roundabout,
Hmm.
on Coombe, Coombe Park Road.
Yeah.
And Jimmy Tarbot was my neighbour. I'll tell you about that another time. And then so, Ronnie Wood lived on and Ronnie Lane because they bought a house together. And Ronnie Lane had the garage and the flat above it down the bottom of the garden.
Yeah.
and and Ronnie Wood bought the Wick. It's called the Wick,
Okay. Okay.
and he bought it off of John Mills, the actor, you know. And he
Okay.
said, "Can you come round? We found loads of Winchesters in the cupboard. Like, all the props were in there." And John Mills tried to buy it back off him. So Ronnie said, "No, I want to keep it."
Yeah.
Anyway, Ronnie would put a studio in the basement, and he put, so he did that, and it's his new toy, So he was recording in there, making his own album. Then I used to get a call because I live so close on the other side of Richmond Park. He's on Richmond Gate, and they used to close the park every night about 8 o'clock. So then you had to drive all the way around. Ronnie would always call me, as I was always, I don't know why, as soon as I was getting 1 foot into bed, he was waking up.
Yeah.
And he said, Kenny, we haven't got a drummer. Oh, God. I said, all right, Ronnie, I'll be right there. So the worst thing I did was I gave him a drum kit for his studio, which is the worst thing I ever did. Because once it was there, he needed me to come and play it. So I went around there this one time, and the thing is, you never knew who was going to be there. I mean, one time I go around there, and there'd be like Eric Clapton playing, so we'll jam around playing. Another time Bob Dylan would be there. This time I went round, and it was Mick Jagger in the studio, just on his own. And Ronnie had just got all this outboard equipment, new toys to play with,
Yeah.
So he spent all his time leaving me and Mick in the studio, in the main room. And then he just left the tape running, and he said, so by this time, Mick and I were just playing this riff.
Yeah.
It's turned out to be It's Only Rock and Roll But I Like It.
Right.
And he said, no, can you play it like that? I said, no, it's bloody 2 o'clock in the fucking morning. I play like this. I said, anyway, it's only rock and roll. He said, yeah, but I like it. So we were just messing around with this riff, which is a riff that we just kept playing with it. And then Ronnie said through the intercom from the control room, play it, I'm going to put it down. So play it. So I just saw a little riff, a little demo. And that was it. So he recorded it, and that was it. I went off, back to bed. And then I found out, later on, about 6 months later, that the Stones put it out as a single. So that I found out that they kept my drumming on it.
Right.
I said, so why'd you do that for? They said, well, we tried to do it, but we couldn't get the feel for it. You got the feel. I said, oh, right. So I called Charlie Watts up straight away. I called Charlie. I said, this is what's happened. You kept my drums on your track. I said, I didn't mean to do that. I said, it's only a demo. So I said, I'm really sorry. He said, no, it doesn't matter, Kenny. He said, sounds like me anyway. Such a lovely guy, Charlie was. He was such a great guy.
Yeah, I always love that. Charlie Watts was asked, what's it like 50 years of rock and roll? He says, he says, it's actually 10 years of rock and roll and 40 years of waiting around,
Waiting around, yeah.
That's a great one. Yeah. How annoyed were you, that Rod Stewart told the NME that my albums have always been better than the Faces? Did that annoy you?
Well, we used to go in the studio. I mean, most of the songs we did as the Faces with Kenney Jones in the Olympic. We were kind of left with riffs, so we kind of wrote the songs there. So Rod probably didn't put anything forward. In other words, I think he could have contributed a little bit more. Let's put it that way for the song.
Yeah.
I think only because I think he's under contract with Mercury Records, so he's in demand, and so that was it.
Yeah. Well, funny you should say this. Glyn Johns says in his autobiography that the recording of Ooh La La was difficult due to Rod's indifference. How do you remember it?
I just remember doing the track, and Ronnie. I think Ronnie Lane was going to sing it, because when you see it, I ended up with Ronnie Wood singing it.
Okay.
And it sounds just like Ronnie Lane a bit, because I think the phrasing is Ronnie Lane's phrasing on it. Sing it, sing it. Can you hear it? Can you hear it?
Yeah, yeah,
Can you
yeah.
play it? You'll hear. I see at first. I mean, even Rod said, "Oh, I thought it was Ronnie Lane."
Did recording with Rod become difficult towards the end? Did he just have his eye only on his solo career?
No, I think it was never difficult. I remember, the last sessions we did making an album, because we still had Warner Brothers an album,
Uh-huh.
was we recorded in Air Studios just off Oxford Street, above, up in the building up there.
Hmm.
I remember we were doing a Beach Boys song and things like, so we had about 5 or 6 tracks we'd done. Then we
Yeah.
broke.
Ah, okay, okay.
Those tracks you can find on, some of those tracks you can find uh, on the album that Five Guys Walking in a Bar.
Oh, okay, okay,
It's on there somewhere.
okay. How difficult or how tricky was it to superimpose your drumming style on those classic Who numbers?
Obviously, I said when I joined the Who, I said, look, I'm not going to copy Keith Moon. There's no way I'm going to do that. Keith, I can only play me, and that's all you're going to get. I said, but there's certain songs that I like Keith's drumming on, and I said, but like Won't Get Forward Again and things like that. So I
Mm,
said, something I should do it as near as I can
mm,
because I like to play it, and that was that. So I just kept. I found, funny enough, when I left the band, I just getting it together, and by that time.
uh-huh.
So you got to think off the wall a little bit,
Yeah,
to take a chance and stuff.
yeah, I suppose so. Keith Moon never had a snare drum though, did he? I mean, that affected the way he sounded.
Oh no, he had a snare drum.
Did he?
There's no
Oh,
hi-hat. He never had hi-hat.
ah, that's it. That's
He
it.
really mixed up because he saw cymbals on that side.
Yeah.
Cymbal hi-hat is a 18-inch cymbal.
Right. Right. Um, again, Roger Daltrey. He said it. Roger Daltrey says in his autobiography, and I'm quoting: "Kenney Jones is a great drummer, but he was completely wrong drummer for the Who." What do you think his problem with you was? Why do you think he was so, not
I,
so positive?
I have no idea. It's in his own mind.
Mm,
I mean, John Emerson and I and Pete got along great. No
mm.
problem. They had no problem with me whatsoever.
Do you think with
I,
Roger
I
Daltrey?
know. I think I know why.
Go on.
Because I've analysed this a few times. Because basically, Mooney had only been dead about 3 months before I joined the band. So every time when we started to do gigs, every time we looked around, it was like you could see me instead of Mooney. So that
Mm.
kind of, what I mean? That got to him a bit.
Yeah, yeah. Although I think in your autobiography you said Roger Daltrey went to a séance.
Oh
Uh,
yeah,
and
he thought it was the right drummer for the Who and all that. When
yeah,
I first joined the band,
yeah,
oh, well, did some gigs. So we had a lot of rehearsal.
yeah, yeah. Um, I was interested. Did the Small Faces ever support, or did you ever have Pink Floyd on the bill with the Small Faces in the 1960s?
No, we actually recorded in their studios, the one they bought in Islington.
Right,
But
right.
that's it.
Oh no, I'm just wondering.
It's Steve and um, what's it? Floyd's guitarist name. Go on.
well, Dave Gilmour's the guitarist now, but Steve
Dave
Murray.
Gilmore, yeah, they were good mates.
Oh, okay, okay. I've only got one last question for you, Kenny, and that is, what are your plans for the future musically? Because you teach sort of drum clinics now and things like that, don't you? Is that
Oh,
right?
I don't do drum clinics.
No. What's
The hospital for sick drummers.
ah, okay. What do you have any plans musically for the future?
Yeah, at the moment we're recording with the Faces at the moment.
Are you really?
Yeah, we're going to make a new album, which we have to fit it in between the Stones tour, his Rod's tour. So little bits here and there we've been doing. So
That's fabulous. So that's you, Ronnie Wood, and Rod Stewart are actually
yeah,
putting.
there's only three of us left.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So you're actually recording a new album now. That's
But it will be eventually once we've finished it.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think we've got about 12 tracks here so far, but we're not. So when we do, we've got some more to do. So we pick and choose and do what we want. But for what we've been doing for the last couple of years they brought this silly rule in, the EU brought this rule in that after 50 years, your copyright belongs to the people.
That's right. Yeah, yeah.
So we've been protected, and then so it's been slipped through. So I don't know who actually brought that law in. I mean, it's stupid. I mean,
Yeah.
it should remain with us and pass down to our next of kin.
Yeah, should be. Yeah.
But so a couple of bootlegs went out. So we all got together and we just corrected everything. So because it's under that thing where you go use it or lose it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we went in and protected ourselves with it. So we were using it and established that we were still using it. And so I'll tell you what, this for Record Store Day, we've got this one coming out.
Oh, wow.
It's not it's along those lines. It's a box set. This is only a teaser, sample.
Yeah, that's fabulous.
So it's 8 CDs, right? And one of them being a DVD as well.
Right.
John Peel shows we used to do the John Peel, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
One of them was filmed, so that's a great surprise. Even I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah. No, I mean, you're right about that 50-year law because a lot of bands are sort of, getting hold of all their bootlegs and things to
Yeah.
stop them
Yeah,
going.
a couple slip through the net. When we hear about bootlegs now, they can't. We stop it straight away.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, that's exciting news. So we can expect a new Faces album sometime in the future,
Yeah, so you can. Yeah,
and a Faces box set as well.
yeah, and and a few more. Yeah, our back catalogue, we are protecting the back catalogue, so we've got lots of songs, bits and pieces that we've found.
Yeah,
So it's going to be tracks, a good find. When you. So we've got a lot more to release.
yeah.
So I've
No.
got a head cold.
Well, it's certainly something to look forward to. I suppose a tour or a few live dates might be too much to ask for. Do you think?
I don't think you can top live, eh?
No, do live dates? Could you see? Could you
Oh,
see
we said,
live dates?
yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure. I mean, we have got together a few times and played live
Yeah,
for prostate cancer.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah, I mean, Rod's got it. I've got it.
yeah,
Oh, we're all clean. No problem now. No cancer at all.
yeah, yeah. Good, good.
So,
Anyway, Kenny, yeah, thank you so much for your time this morning. I certainly look forward to hearing some new music by the Faces.
by the way, I'll leave you with one thought. This Roger Daltrey is right. There was only one drummer for Lou, and that's Keith Moon, and always will be.
Yeah, yeah. But what do you do? I mean, Keith Moon died. What do you do? Do you stop the band, or you either continue or you don't continue? You've got to make that choice, haven't you, or live with
Oh, I
it?
think so. Yeah. I mean, it's what Mooney would have liked. That's what I think. You know, Pete Townsend, Roger Daltrey, and John Emerson had a choice to make.
Yeah, yeah.
It was to continue.
Yeah, yeah, okay. I like the drumming on those, the post Moon stuff. To be honest, I like the drumming live, and I wonder whether or not Roger Daltrey was kind of having difficulty processing his grief over losing Mick.
I think so. It was too soon after his death when I joined the band.
Yeah,
So it was
yeah,
too soon.
yeah. I think so. I mean, I think when somebody passes, there's always a certain amount of guilt. You always feel, should I have done something, or could I have done more? But maybe he was going through some complex emotional stuff at the time,
Probably, yeah.
probably. Anyway, thank you, Kenny. Thank you so much for this. It's been, as I said, I'm really looking forward to hearing some new Faces material. That'd be great if a new album comes out, and the box set is a definite must. I'd be happy to promote that on my channel if anyone can send me some links or
Okay.
anything.
Yeah, yeah.
And anyway, And is that a record store day release, that one?
Yeah. So it comes out in June.
Okay, okay. Anyway, Kenny, thank you so much. All
So
the very best to you, and Happy New Year to you again.
you too, Barry. Thanks very much.
All the
See
best.
you
Bye
later.
bye.
Bye.